Hi there, folks. Hello and welcome to our Summerland programming with the Ottawa Public Library. My name is Sarah, and today I'm going to take you through a craft that I really like. It is the creation of a sculpture. So I'm going to be making a person or like a humanoid figure today, but you can make whatever you want. So if you wanted to make an animal in this process that I'm about to show you, or even an object, go for it, you know? That's the artist's way. So the things you're gonna need for this project today are all in front of me, and I'm gonna explain them to you. We have some strips of paper that we're gonna use to papier-mâché our figure at the end. We have a bowl that you're gonna need to mix our papier-mâché ingredients, which are as follows: just flour and water. I have this old lamp that my neighbor was gonna toss out, and I thought, you know what? I could make a craft with that. So I cut off the cord from the lamp, and I'm gonna show you how to strip it so that you can get some wire to work with. Alternatively, if you don't feel like dumpster diving or wandering around your neighborhood looking for some scrap electronics, you can always go to the dollar store or craft stores and you can buy some wire that you can use to make the skeleton of your figure. And then finally, you need an X-Acto knife. So remember, when you're working with one of these, they are really sharp. So that's why I also put down this piece of cardboard, so it's going to protect the table that I have underneath from any scratches that this could cause. Keep in mind too, when you're working with this, just always cut away from yourself. You don't want the knife ever coming this way, hurting you. So cutting away from yourself is really a great practice. And make sure this is away from any young humans that you might have in your life. So siblings or cousins or nieces and nephews, just make sure this is for the bigger people in your world only. Okay, let's get started. First step is to strip the wire. So I just used scissors to cut this free from that old lamp that I just showed you. And now I'm going to take the lid off my X-Acto knife and I'm gonna strip it. So you gotta do this really carefully, and it's kind of a long process, and luckily with the magic of YouTube, we just get to fast forward. We're gonna jump cut to when it's all stripped. But before we do, I'm just gonna show you a few incisions. So you're gonna push into the plastic casing of the wire, and you're gonna draw the blade away from you. Then what you get to do is you get to kind of let the copper filament free from inside this casing. So I'm gonna do it on both sides just to kind of really open it up. So see there, we have our wire filament, and we're gonna just keep going all the way down until the whole thing has been removed. Now if you wanted to be a superstar when it comes to upcycling, you could even find a way to incorporate these plastic scraps into your final sculpture. Maybe they could be the clothing on your character, maybe they could be hair. The sky's the limit, really. And to be honest, space, beyond, the next universe over. Is there a limit? Not when it comes to imagination. Okay, let's go to the next step. Okay, so the wire frayed a little bit. There were some pieces I cut a little bit too deep, and I cut through the plastic casing into the wire. So with the scraps, the ones that ended up being the victims of my blade, I'm just gonna keep them to the side, and I'm gonna save them for after because this looks so cute. It could be perhaps hair, or I don't know, who knows? It could be anything at the end. So let's go to our next step. We're gonna make the wire figure. Try and separate it into two bundles. We don't want it to get tangled because we don't want to rip it or get it too bent. See how I have two piles now? We're gonna kind of have to twist it apart as well. See, I'm just twisting it apart. I know some people who also have made jewelry with stuff like this. I finally did it! Yay! I have 2 bunches! Yay! Now it doesn't really matter, to me at least, if now there's some kinks or imperfections in my 2 bunches. I just wanted to make sure that I had 2 groups of wire to work with, so that I had a backup, so that if my first figure doesn't bend in the way I like, maybe my second one will. Once you have your wire separated into 2 bundles, we're going to fold it in half and we're going to start bending it and twisting it to make our figure. So we're going to start with the head after it's been measured so it kind of balances in half. And then we're going to twist it a few times to make the head. And that's the little neck there. Great. Next, we're going to reach down, we're going to make some arms. And we're going to finish with a hand. I don't know if you can see it, maybe it's better against my shirt. You're going to twist again for the wrist, and then loosely wrap up the arm so that you don't lose too much of the wire that you worked so hard to free from that plastic casing. Remembering perfect doesn't exist, especially not in art, and our imperfections usually make it even more beautiful. And try to create with love. So try to create with care for your creature, your figure that you're making. Try to give them care. So if you noticed, I kind of measured this arm against the other arm to make sure they're the same length. I twist it again tightly just at the wrist point, and then I'm wrapping loosely up until where I think some shoulders would be. Ta-da! That's where I think some shoulders would be. Good. Now, we're going to do our rib cage kind of area. So I think that's a good size rib cage. I know this humanoid looks like a stick person, but that's why we're going to papier-mâché them after, so that we can add some more, I guess, put some meat on their bones, as they say. So once you have that like kind of rib cage zone, you're going to twist again to keep it secure there. And after you're done that, decide how long you want your legs to be. I'm kind of feeling like some long legs today. Kind of exaggerate a bit. So I'm going to lay my person down on my work surface. I think they would look good kind of around here. So I'm going to twist to make the foot. Whoa, my wire's kind of frayed at the end, so it's making it a bit tricky to work with. That's okay. I brought my patience today, and patience just makes everything better. And self-compassion, you know? You don't want to be too hard on yourself while you're creating. Anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. And I think most things are worth doing. So most things are worth doing badly or poorly a few times. And so then once I've done the tight loops for where the ankle would be. And again, I'm just going to loosely wrap the rest of the wire up the leg. Okay. I wonder what the creatures you guys are creating look like. And I'm just going to wrap the excess of it just kind of around that waist a few more times. And back around that leg. Just until it's all gone. Ta-da! And now we do our other final foot. Final leg, rather. So about leg there, foot there. Twisting tight at the ankle, just like we did at the wrist, just like we did at the neck, and just like we did at the waist, so that it stays secure, keeps it in the shape we want it. And then you can go loose up the leg, just like we did up the arms, so that we don't lose too much of this beautiful copper wire. I'm going to spread out the head so it's more circular, so taking the wire and fanning it out. Okay folks, on to the next step. Papier-mâché all day! Hooray! Time to start the papier-mâché. So I folded this guy the other day, or bent him up, and this is some of the papier-mâché I've already started on him. He's relaxing. She's going to be more active. So I just thought of an idea. I'm going to use some of this to help strengthen her. I'm going to tape this one here to kind of give some more stability to her hips. I'm going to use my X-Acto knife to kind of cut some of these pieces a bit smaller. And then I'm just going to use another piece for the foot. And I'm going to keep the long bits on it right now because they're going to kind of help it balance. And I'm going to tape this piece to the ground. There. Okay. Let's make some papier-mâché. I'm going to take some flour, and I've got some warm water here. And you don't need to put all of it in. Roll up your sleeves, take off your jewelry, if you have any on, because it's going to get messy. And we're going to mix with our hands because we're going to be using our hands with the paper anyways. You see that consistency? It's not lumpy. It's kind of gluey. Let's see what that's kind of its consistency. So we're going to work with that. And now all of our strips, we can just start putting them in one by one. Give it a little bath. We're just going to wrap it around the figure. Cool. Next piece. I'll wrap this one up too. And this is why, again, it's nice to have the cardboard down, because it serves to protect your work surface from all this goop. And you can kind of rip it too if it's not giving you the shape you like, because once it's wet, it's pretty malleable. If you want it to dry faster, try to scoop off more of the excess goop. Just make sure to put it in a nice sunny spot or a warm spot, like by a heater or something, so that it can dry. Let's fast forward to when we're doing our second coat. It's a new day, everyone, and the first little coat that I put on my figures has dried. And today we are going to be making a decision about whether or not we're going to keep the joints free. So the joints being the shoulders, the hips in this case, and maybe even the head so the head can turn, free from papier-mâché, or whether we are going to papier-mâché over all the joints so that it will be a solid figure. I think I want to keep the hip joint here malleable so that this leg can be, you know, maybe posed later as a kicking foot, or maybe posed like he's doing the tree pose in yoga, or brought up like he's walking up a step. Even though this elbow joint has been papier-mâchéed over, I think I'm going to try and keep this shoulder malleable so that we can lift the arms above the head and then also readjust so that this individual can go back to lounging. This one's going to be all solid, this one's going to have the malleable joints. I'm going to cut it to help bend it forward. So we're almost done. I'm just going to leave them to dry again. I think these characters probably will need one more coat of papier-mâché. It's a new day. Can you hear that? Hard as rocks. I did say that I wanted to try and incorporate this wire casing. So I have my glue gun here. Oops, it's heating up. I actually have some sparkly gold glue that I'm going to use today because I think that will be a nice detail. I brought my X-Acto knife back out so that I can cut these into smaller pieces if I need. And before I start, I'm actually just going to trim a little bit of his head. Remember to cut away from yourself, please. Okay, let's get started. Remember when you're using the glue gun that it is hot, so try not to get it on your skin. Try to keep it. Wow, I like the way that looks. Ow, I already got some on me. Right now I'm kind of lining up how I'm going to do the face. Look how cute that is. Check it out. It's coming along. I have switched to gluing on the figure instead of gluing onto the pieces because I found it's easier and I'm burning myself with the hot glue much less. Okay. I think I'm going to leave it at this today. One thing I like about this character is how the wire skeleton permits him to have a bobbly head. I can move his arms if I'd like. And then his papier-mâché body keeps him sturdy and provides us with a hard surface, which to decorate. If I really wanted to, I could also give it a coat of paint. So thank you everyone for all of your help in making this creature. Thanks for sticking with me throughout this whole thing. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I wish I could see all the beautiful creations you guys made today. Thanks so much.